What is our fifth main topic today?
Our fifth main topic is from Greg G. The DC films for Warner Brothers have been a roller coaster, and that's putting it nicely. With the divided responses to the movies, the ridiculous never-ending drama over Zack Snyder, subpar box office results, aside from a couple like Aquaman, and endless other distractions. Considering standalone films like The Batman and Joker have been nothing but successful and drama-free, and with the new HBO spinoffs and sequels for both films, is DC getting ready to shut down the DCEU for these standalone movies? If they did, do you think that would be a good idea?
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Greg. And you know what? It has been kind of shocking how many people have been writing into me asking something very similar. It's like, oh, or telling me straight up, John, you don't get it. They're shutting down the DCEU. They're getting ready to shut it down. They haven't had nearly the success with it that they wanted, and that's fair to say. I think it is fair to say they haven't had the success that they were hoping to have with the DCU, although they've had some big successes. And they start launching these standalone things like Joker, only makes $1 billion, only gets nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, only wins Joaquin Phoenix Best Lead Actor at the Academy Awards. Incredible success. Audiences love it, blah, blah, blah. Now comes The Batman, another absolute triumph that major trades like Hollywood Reporter and Variety are already speculating about its Oscar chances next year.
Yeah.
And it became only the second film since 2019 to break the $100 million mark on its opening weekend. It's going to have some pretty decent legs. They've got 2 spin-off shows coming to HBO in Penguin and the Arkham Asylum one that's focused on that. They're spinning up number 2. We've all heard the rumblings that they're looking at doing another Joker, even though it was intended as a one-shot movie. But make $1 billion, be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, tends to motivate you to change things a little bit. So could it be? And then after hearing what Emmerich said the other day, but we're going to focus just on quality storytelling, not connected universe films, whatever. A lot of people came back to me and said, John, you're missing the forest through the trees here. They are going to wrap up the DCU, and they're going to just focus on these things. And it's not a crazy thing to ask or to guess, because you're right. All those things we just talked about were 100% true. That they have all this stuff. They have all the success here, nothing but drama and turmoil over here. You're not crazy for thinking maybe they can head in that direction. I, however, am going to propose to you that they have no intention of wrapping up the DCEU. Oh, wow. And I will tell you the 2 main reasons why. Main reason number 1 is that because you don't have to have one or the other. It's not like DC has to make a choice. Do we do all shared cinematic universe or do we go all solo movies? You don't have to make that choice. You can do both. You can do both and have success at both. So there's no need to create this either or scenario that frankly doesn't exist. You can do both. So there's number 1. The second thing, though, is it's become pretty clear to me that they are ramping up for a new phase of the DCEU. Like The Flash, if nothing else, is serving as, for lack of a better phrase, a palate cleanser for the DCEU. They're going to rearrange, they're clearly going to do some rearranging of the DC cinematic universe with The Flash. Where we're going to end up from there, we don't know. But we've got things like Black Adam coming. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has not been working on this film for 18 years just to come and have it be a one-shot. We've got films like Aquaman coming. And with that being $1 billion success, and they're looking further down the road. So I would say, while it is understandable to ask that question, totally, I would say it's pretty clear that they are not going to be replacing the DCEU with these Batman and Joker standalones because, number 1, you get to succeed at both. Number 2, to me at least, it looks pretty clear that they have designs of taking the DCU into their next phase. So, no, I think we're going to be living with both. Rob, everything the person who wrote in said is true. There has been nothing but drama surrounding the DCU since it started, even going back to my beloved Man of Steel, which didn't get the reception they were hoping it would, didn't get the reception it deserved. Man of Steel is one of the greatest comic book films of all time. Anyway, that aside, the drama surrounding it never stops, all this kind of stuff, mixed various, levels of success or lack thereof. Whereas with these standalones, nothing but gold and rainbows and beautiful butterflies and cotton underwear rubbing up against your privates.
Okay.
It's been wonderful for them. Did I say something wrong? Sorry. It's been wonderful.
Hopefully they're manscaped.
And they got to be manscaped. It's been wonderful for them. I just don't see them moving away from it. I don't know. How do you see it?
You know what? I'm going to say this. I hope it's not unpopular to say. What does it matter? I mean, ultimately, the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, they were essentially, call it a standalone trilogy, and we love them. Then you go on to Man of Steel and Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, and then Justice League. You could call that Zack Snyder's Justice League trilogy if you want. And then spinning out from that, we have Zack Snyder's Aquaman being in an Aquaman movie that becomes its own thing. It's getting a second Aquaman movie. Suicide Squad and The Suicide Squad are part of the DCEU. They spilled over to Peacemaker. Aquaman and Flash are in Peacemaker. Now you've got the Flash appearing with Ben Affleck, also part of the Zack Snyder extended DCEU, and with Michael Keaton. And if these movies are successful, because there's nobody planning a DCEU cinematic universe. They've tried, but in my mind, it's like we've got the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Everyone's talking about cinematic universes and continuity and all of this. I think in the case of DC, because they have a multiverse and you're tripping over itself, or they're tripping over themselves anyway, I don't think it really matters. All I want is a great standalone movie. Is Black Adam, which is adjacent to Shazam, kind of, that's also in the DCEU. Does it really matter if we get good movies? And I would say for the DC universe, there is no Kevin Feige. There's no story group that's planning all of this. And they've said themselves, was it Toby Emmerich who came out? We reported, we just want great filmmakers making great movies. I think that's the right attitude to take. And if filmmakers want to avail themselves of telling a story where they bring in multiple characters, good for them. But I think it's been proven that whether we're getting an Aquaman movie that's an adjunct to a DCEU movie or a Batman or a Joker movie, as long as they're good movies, it doesn't really matter. Because if we don't have somebody planning the universe, it's never going to be good.
Now, look, the other thing we got to keep in mind here, too, the elephant in the room is that Warner Brothers is about to be sold. It's about to be owned it's about to have a brand new boss. David Zaslav is buying Warner Brothers for Discovery, which still shatters my mind. You'd think Warner Brothers would buy Discovery, not the other way around.
Discovery Channel?
Discovery is buying Warner Brothers, and David Zaslav is going to be the new boss of Warner Brothers. And so really what the future of the DCEU is going to be determined by him once he takes possession in the next couple of months. So there's that too, but it looks to me pretty clear that they are still planning on doing both. Aaron, you've seen a number of these films, and you just got out of seeing the Batman as well. Do you see them kind of canceling one for the other? Do you see them doing both? Do you have a preference between the two? What are your thoughts right now?
Well, speaking of elephants in the room, the other elephant in the room is Joey's wearing her Wonder Woman.
We got her Wonder Woman dress on.
We do have an announcement. Joey Bishop has been announced as the new face of the DCEU and will be starring
in Super Pets as Wonder Woman's dog.
Yes, yes, as Super Pets as Wonder Woman's dog. No, I agree with Rob. It's like, there's so many different avenues to go to, and with all of these different properties, and the idea that DC has to be a direct mirror of what Marvel is doing. I don't think I don't think it has to be that. Let the MCU be the MCU under Kevin Feige, and let, DC do DC and have them do their spin-off series and their standalone films. And, yes, I do think that their crossovers have not been successful, but clearly them trying to do what Kevin Feige is doing, it's not working. And so them doing their own thing has resulted in billion-dollar standalone films and highly successful streaming series. So let DC be DC and let the MCU be the MCU and give my dog a television show starring as Wonder Woman. Obviously, this is the face of... Gal Gadot is pretty, but By
the way, we never did ask you, we never asked you on the show, did you like the Batman?
Okay. Do you have a second?
Sure.
I won't go. Okay.
Just a second.
Okay. I will say this. It has been haunting me for the last week, specifically the choice of using Something in the Way by Nirvana from the Nevermind album. You know, I mean, in interviews, Kurt Cobain said that he wrote that song to encompass the loneliness and despair that one can feel, not necessarily autobiographical. And when that song came out, I was a freshman in high school, which was a period of deep loneliness, darkness, and despair in my own life. So when I heard the song, it was maybe there should have been a trigger warning for the Gen Xers in the crowd because it was so powerful. And what I also loved is that song really is the only song that I remember being in the movie. And it was in it twice in two incredibly powerful places. Now, he could have easily, Matt Reeves could have easily picked songs, you know, from Nine Inch Nails' Downward Spiral album or Pearl Jam 10 or even darker, like with KMFDM or Skinny Puppy or even Metallica. Like there was
nice
so many.
Skinny Puppy pull. Yeah.
Hey, you didn't think I knew about that shit, did you? So like there's so many really cool albums from that time period that they could have drawn from to have a great soundtrack. But instead, he chose to focus on that song. And then if you notice in the score really echoed that song.
Yeah.
So even when we weren't listening to that song, we were hearing that deep bass and that and it was just so troubling and beautiful. But I also love how the movie itself was it was choreographed like a symphony. You really felt like you were riding waves of emotion. And just when things started to feel really dark, all of a sudden Batman would say something slightly humorous like, wow, you've got a lot of cats. And it was in that moment that I realized that I am Selena Kyle because I too have a lot of cats.
Yeah.
I am not like Selena Kyle in any other way, unfortunately, but I have a lot of cats. So I feel like she and I are one. But there was a moment, and this is my last point. There was a moment, and there's no spoilers here, but when Batman and Catwoman first meet one another and they think somebody's coming around the corner, so he pulls her in to kind of like, don't say anything. And without even saying a word or seeing an expression on their face, the way that their bodies held each other, you could see that neither of these people had held or been held by another person in so long that there was something really sensual, but also so lonely about it. Like I felt that in my soul. And then when we see upside down Batman walking from the fire, I felt that in my lady business. Like I got a lady erection from that shot. It was so powerful. And for those of you who don't know, my 3.5-month-old son was in the theater watching the movie with us.
With headphones on.
With headphones on. So I'm thinking that maybe like next weekend we'll go and see, I don't know, like Schindler's List or the documentary of, Amy Winehouse or maybe the Godfather trilogy. I just want my kid to have some light uplifting films under his belt before he turns 1.
All right, guys. Question is for you. I get the question about the phasing out of the DCEU. I mean, to me, they're clearly not, but maybe you feel they do. How do you think about that? Jump on down to the comments section below and leave your thoughts there. Hey guys, we want to take a minute and thank the sponsor of today's video, the good folks at Keeps. Now look, you guys probably already know that 2 out of every 3 men will experience some form of hair loss by the time they're just 35 years old. Now that's where Keeps comes in because Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors. That means the guys that use it love it. Keeps offers a simple, affordable, and stress-free way to keep your hair. It's also low cost. Treatments start as low as just $10 per month, and Keeps offers generic versions for the 2 FDA-approved medications to prevent hair loss. That means treatment plans are affordable, typically half the cost of pharmacy prices. Keeps has everything your hair needs delivered straight to your door with discreet packaging and proven results. Remember, prevention is the key. Treatments can take 4 to 6 months to see results, so the sooner you act, the better. When it comes to your hair, save more, spend less with Keeps. So if you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to Keeps, that's KEEPS.com/Campea to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's Keeps, KEEPS.com/Campea to get your first month free. Keeps.com/Campea.